The emotions of love, concern, possessiveness is destined oneself to become a dog, to be born as a dog. When no grasping for the non-grasping itself, let's proceed simultaneously, completely, absolutely, then there will be purification of the emptiness automatically. It will not take in the mind, emotions and feelings either. Automatically, there will be no grasping for emotions and feelings. It's naturally not grasping. Use no grasping for the non-grasping to conclude as a purification simultaneously with everything. It has to be absolute and more often. Use this reminder absolutely. It will naturally be beyond emotions and feelings, beyond the mind. Emotions are there, the mind is there, but there is no fixation to it. Any state of mind, seeing and knowing is there, but there is no fixation naturally. Just absolute. Step back, no grasping for the non-grasping itself, simultaneously with everything. Let's conclude thoroughly. There is no complication here. Just diligently purify. Without the reminders, it will be like being carried away. On the way of the blessing, there is so sticky because there are many beings from all realms of existence, from the sea, on the land. Even you fall in stillness a tiny bit, it's not okay. Therefore, it has to be extremely with the essence, sharing the essence of no grasping for the non-grasping itself, beyond feelings, beyond the mind, beyond emotions, in the way that discarding the emptiness, without grasping for the emptiness, no grasping for the non-grasping itself. This will be possible to help through the purification of the emptiness. Diligently use the reminders until it's fluent. It's the same essence as discarding itself. The state of mind discarding itself. The mind discarding itself, mind discarding mind, is the same essence. It's all of the essence of the emptiness that doesn't grasp for itself, the liberation that doesn't grasp for itself. This will turn into the purification of the emptiness for samsara. Immediately, it will turn into the great compassion, helping through the emptiness, purify through the emptiness for the beings. However, no grasping for the non-grasping itself has to be absolute. It will be resolute, total cutting. It will have nothing to do with the mind, seeing and knowing, or emotions naturally. It will have nothing to do with anything whatsoever, even normality, ordinariness. With everything, no grasping for the non-grasping itself, absolutely. This is the usage of Nirodha and Nibbana, purifying through the emptiness and extinction for samsara. Normally, it's difficult to bless because the usage of knowing is a lot, because it's receiving karmic difficulties, acknowledging and receiving karma and karmic difficulties of the beings. Use that which is beyond knowing, that has nothing to do with knowing and seeing. Use that which is beyond the mind to bless. What is it that is beyond the mind? Use that kind of hint. No grasping for the non-grasping itself is beyond the mind. Use that which is the hint that is beyond body mind aggregates a dharma, then it is beyond the mind that bless samsara. The knower has two coins, has two faces. If it's used only as a medium for blessing, it's bygone. Not to go deepening into it, then there is no pitfall. Use it and it's bygone. When it is rooting down deeply, it will take on karma and karmic difficulties of samsara, of the beings. If you don't know how to use it, not in the way of bygone be bygone. If don't know how to purify the knowing, you will take on a lot of hindrances and vedana of the beings. Therefore, when mind, discarding mind, no grasping for the non-grasping itself, naturally it has nothing to do with knowing or not knowing. It has nothing to do with knowing or not knowing. This is the purification for the knowing already. If just with knowing, acknowledging and receiving, it will just carry on karma and karmic difficulties, hindrances and vedana of the beings. You have to use that which has nothing to do with knowing from the blessing, purify through the emptiness. Use this hint that has nothing to do with knowing, uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. This will have nothing to do with the mind already. Mind from mind itself has nothing to do with the mind already. No grasping for the non-grasping itself also has nothing to do with the mind. Use that which has nothing to do with the mind to bless samsara, then it's enabled for blessing. The mind is the one that creates karma. It is the karma and karmic difficulties in itself. It's the receiver of the karmic difficulties of the mind. To be fixated with the mind is impossible to go over it. Suffering is always there. Therefore, discard the discarding itself more often. No grasping for the non-grasping itself often. Use these reminders to purify, to be just at the mind. However, it's impossible to go over it. Have to enable to go beyond the mind. Use the hint that has nothing to do with the mind, and then it will be beyond the mind automatically. That is called the mighty force of purifying for samsara and the beings. There is a lot of mighty force there through the purification of the emptiness and extinction. Therefore, there is just the essential hint as a reminder. There is not much. That which is not the mind is impossible to use practice for it, because this has nothing to do with the practice. Just use the essential hints that is correctly. You need to know what kind of code to open the safe. It's the same thing. That which has nothing to do with the mind, there is an essential hint. There is a code. You must listen. The language that is the code, the essential code. It's impossible to practice for that which is not the mind. It's derived from let go of the letting go itself, not attached to the non-attachment itself only. Putting down the putting down itself, let go of the letting go itself. It's impossible to practice the mind towards that which is not having anything to do with the mind. In other words, it's called liberation of suffering. It has nothing to do with the mind. It has nothing to do with the mind. The state of mind is stuck with just anicca, dukkha, anatta and its karmic difficulties. That is how it is. There is no such thing as empty mind, because emptiness is not even emptiness. How can there be empty mind? Therefore, the status of the mind is stuck with just karma and karmic difficulties, mental karma and its cycle. Therefore, it's impossible to be much with it. It has to be mind, even from mind itself only. Disengage from disengagement only, not attached to the non-attachment itself only. We are looking for a place to sit and drink tea because we need this conversation. It's better than to listen in a conversation in the car. We need a conversation. Sitting and eat is not needed much. You eat and excretion is there, delicious or not. It's just a taste at the end of the tongue perception. You're gonna go on toilet and excrete it as usual. The essence is that we have a conversation towards that which liberates the mind, which is the great compassion for samsara. You have good selling. You're gonna be busy all day long. Good business will make you busy all day long. You have no time. Always busy every day. You think that is good? You think that is really good, huh? Therefore, what is good is that you know how to be in moderation. You have to have time. Earning the living in moderation, have time to relax your brain, not just be insane all year, all day. Really good, a truly goodness. It's just knowing how to be in moderation, earning in moderation, consuming in moderation. Then it will make your brain not stressful. So that you don't have to go often to hospital. Some people are very diligent. At first, have a lot of energy. They use up their body, and when they get old, they go to hospitals only. Because the engine is out of order, because there is no moderation. Therefore, the body is just out of order, is declining. Just go to hospital at the end of the life. Just sleep and sleep and sleep. Bedridden only. That is being taken at the end of the life. Therefore, take care of the body. Don't think that when you are young, you just go ahead, make the life. And when you get old, you have no chance for that. That thought, it will be like that, because you will just go to take care of your health only when you get old. Just take medicines only to take care of your health, because you use up everything when you are young. So when you get old, you don't have to do anything else. because you have no more energy. Just take medicine, going to hospitals only. That's not okay. You need moderation. Because this life, you gain nothing from it at all. You just waste your life for nothing, dying for nothing. You don't gain anything from it. Therefore, making the life in the way that is brighten, more brightening. When blessing samsara, use that which is not the mind. Use it as a reminder thoroughly. That which is uninvolved even within the involvement itself. That which is not attached even towards the non-attachment itself. Thoroughly remind oneself, then it will turn into the purification of the extinction and emptiness without traces, automatically. To be obsessed to use the mind, there is just karma and karmic cycle, karmic difficulties, karmic retributions. Assume up the mind, using the mind in moderation. Use it in the way that is not suffer with the mind. The matter of the mind, if you don't know how to go over it, there will be suffering. Thought recalls emotions and feelings, they are just vedana, unbearable. If you don't know how to go beyond it, then there will be suffering because of it. Therefore, listen to that which has nothing to do with the mind thoroughly, which is uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. Use it as a reminder to purify onwards, constantly. Those who are fixated with hard working when they are old, they cannot stop it. That kind of fixation. Therefore, it has to continue with moderation. You have to be in moderation in the hard working, in the diligence, because it creates habits for the body. And when you get old, it's just sick. You have to adjust to make it in moderation, to be balanced. Then the body can be utilized for the blessing. It has to be that when you get old and you can move about, not that you cannot. Use that which is not the mind to bless. It's so smooth. There's a lot of blessing. It's a great compassion. It's widening. When it's not the mind to bless, that which is boundless, it is the boundlessness. To talk with the mind, there is boundary. But when it's not the mind, then it's beyond it. It has no limitations. The important point is impossible to make it in such a way. You cannot practice to be beyond the mind. That which is not the mind cannot be practiced. That which is not the mind is that which is not karma. Just listen to the code, the essential code, and follow accordingly, automatically.